Okay. Nutraceuticals are biotechnology for treatment of high blood pressure. The term nutraceuticals comes of two words, nutri for nutrition and ceutical for pharmaceutical, and it was defined by Stephen DeFelin in 1989. Nutraceuticals is a part of a food or food which can be of vegetal or animal origin, and it has a beneficial activity for health and nutritional value. Food contains an active compound, and it has an important nutritional value as a source of micro and macronutrients. Nutraceuticals are important because they can prevent and cure some pathological conditions. In our case, we choose hypertension because in the last year this disease gained a relevance. Hypertension is a medical term for high blood pressure. It is defined as having a blood pressure reading more than 140 over 90 several weeks. Hypertension is a consequence of iteration of genetics and environment. Macronutrients and micronutrients are crucial in the regulation of blood pressure. The most common causes of hypertension include smoking, obesity, diabetes, having a sedentary life, lack of physical activity, alcohol, and high consumption of salt. The disease acts in the endothelium, which is a strategic location between the blood and vascular smooth muscle, and secretes various substances to maintain vascular homeostasis and health. The principal effect of hypertension may be an injury in endothelium and vascular smooth muscle related to finite response of inflammation, acidity, stress, and immune dysfunction of arteries. Many studies to ensure that nutraceuticals have a positive results with nutraceuticals, in particular potassium, magnesium, L-arginine, vitamin C, cocoa, flavonoids, beetroot juice, coenzyme Q10, but the most important are the antioxidants. But we choose flavonoids for that reason. Flavonoids are a diverse range of polyphenolic compounds that occur naturally in plants, fruit, vegetables, grains, herbs, and beverage. Flavonoids have been absorbed and they metabolize. This conjugation extends the half-life of flavonoids, and that increase their time. For that reason, the risk of toxicity decrease. Flavonoids have potential health benefits as an antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, and antithrombotic activities. The next. Hypertension in Mexico affects both economical and active population group and the group of the tier A. But in this case, this type of disease is considered the principal cause of mortality in adults to 20 to 69 years old. Hypertension is the highest worldwide prevalence, and in Mexico in 2000 centuries, the reported prevalence of ECD between the age to 20 to 69 was 30.05%, and it is estimated around 10% of the hypertensive population in Mexico is not really in optimal control.
Our goals for this project are four. The number one is to demonstrate the efficiency of flavonoid antioxidant compounds in hypertension. Two, to propose a methodology to extract and verify the effectiveness of anthocyanins in hypertension. Three, the main goal of the objective of the following work is to generate an anthocyan extraction methodology with a biotechnology method. And for last but not least, generate clinical proposals to demonstrate the efficiency of anthocyanins based on toxicology, tests, 3D culture, and animal studies.
Medical treatment, there are differently values for pressure reading, and according to this information, patients will need to do some changes in their lifestyle or receive medications. A blood pressure reading that is consistently above 140 over 90 millimeters of mercury, and the risk of developing other problems is low, the patient will be advised to make changes in his lifestyle. If blood pressure remains constantly but the risk of developing other problems is high, the patient will receive medicine to lower the blood pressure in addition to make lifestyle changes. And finally, a blood pressure reading is consistently above 160 over 100 millimeters of mercury. The patient will get some medications and recommendations as the previous case. There are some lifestyle changes to reduce the risk of developing other problems. Some of them are reduce salt intake, get more exercise, reduce the intake of alcohol, lose weight, stop smoking, drink less caffeine, get at least 6 hours of sleep per night. And in the medicines for high blood pressure, there are several types of medicines that can be used to help control high blood pressure, but some people need a combination of them. Here we have some examples such as diuretics, sympathomimetic drugs, calcium antagonists, angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitors, receptor antagonists of angiotensin 2, direct renin inhibitors, and vasodilators. And for the methodology, we have two methods, or well, one, for the extraction and recovery of antioxidants. It is necessary to obtain natural components and their separation from the plant matrix is obtained with two methods. The first one is the direct extraction of compounds that are dissolved in the extracting agent. The second is the completion of an additional stage that achieves the rupture or separation of the target compounds of the polymers in which it is found in the cell wall. Sorry. And for the extraction with liquid solvents, there are two different technologies that are considered for the extraction of antioxidant compounds. The first one is solid liquid extraction. It is the process of separating the antioxidant compounds from this material and requires solid liquid extraction with conventional solvents and the subsequent removal of the solvent to obtain a concentrated extract. The most common solvents are acidified water, ethanol, and methanol. The second one is liquid-liquid extraction, and it is done when it is desired to separate compounds with antioxidant power from a liquid stream. The solvents that are selected must have low miscibility with aqueous stream in which the compounds of interest are initially found, and the most used solvents are ethanol, methanol, or sulfur dioxide in water. And for this project, we propose the flavonoid extraction using a solid liquid extraction with ethanol as a solvent, and a method for quantification, an assessment for the stability of anthocyanins in the following flow charts.
For the molecular interactions between anthocyanins and ethanols, first of all, the anthocyanins are water-soluble pigments that are located in the grape skin bacules during fermentation process and are released into the wine. The cellulose content and the degree of methylatination of the pigment have shown positive correlations with the absorption capacity. There is an increase in extraction of phenols at elevated temperatures. This is due to the permeability of the hypodermal cells of the grape increasing as the solubility of phenyls at higher temperature. Also, the cellulose structures open up, creating new sites and faster exchange between the molecules. There is an increase in temperature, and an increase in temperatures can disrupt hydrogen bonds between the cell wall and the phenolic, increase its concentration in solution. And some observations suggest that one in higher alcohol content or fermented at higher temperature extract more phenolic compositions.
We need to understand the importance of flavonoids and the antioxidant properties. And it is because nitric oxide plays a critical role in regulation of blood pressure. Nitric oxide diffuses to vascular smooth muscle cells, where it activates the CEMP-PKG axis and stimulates the calcium 2 plus activate and potassium channels. But the reason are important, but in this case we are focused in anthocyanins. Anthocyanins are the water-soluble plants pigments responsible for the red, blue, and purple color of the fruit, vegetables, and herbs. The special functions reported that the anthocyanins have cardiovascular and antidepressive effects. For that reason, we choose to use a clinical methodology. In the following methodology, we describe a proposed clinical step to generate a clinical result for the human consumption. Anthocyanins of anthocyanins. For that reason, we propose 3 different essays. The first is cytotoxicity essay with MPT, and that is the flowchart. The second is 3D models and animal models. We aim to generate a positive result and measure 2 things: the efficacy of nutraceuticals and the possible side effect that it generates. In this case, we are going to use a PCCS, and these cells can represent differentiate into functional vascular smooth muscle cells. And we use 4 different concentrations. We use the data of Young in 1980, and the lethal concentrations, the IC50, and the minimum. And that's are the purpose of concentration and the play designs. For the 3D cell culture, we choose that model because we consider a useful model because it is efficient for the response to drugs and external smoothie compounds. We propose to create a model of blood vessels with the use of biodegradable tubular scaffolds and the cells iPSC-EC for demonstrate the anthocyanins effect in a blood vessel with a similar condition to hypertension. And the imaging shows the result that we will expect. And that is the flowchart that we use. For analysis, the impact and observe the interaction that we can use different methods of the measurement of endothelium function as toric aortic, Rhine assays, warm micrography, acetonity infusion, flow mediated dilatation, and laser Doppler photometry. And we use the same studies for animal models. In the case of the animal models, we choose that because animal models have been useful for unraveling the pathogenesis of hypertension and for the testing therapeutic strategies. This model helps for validity and have a general idea of the response to the therapy, in this case, anthocyanins. We use animal spray tablet. This model provides a reliable and reproducible phenotype that are often representative of clinical observations. For the nitric oxide system, we need to modulate the effect of local and systemic vasodilation and fine-tuning of blood pressure and organ flow, blood flow. Blood pressure is measured for a duration of the experiment by exposing an accessible artery and inserting a cannula connected to a mercury manometer of a pressure transducer. And the clinical observation and observe with this model, we can observe the clinical hypertension and we can compare a wild type and or spread doublet case that is the animal that has the disease.
Animal that has the disease?
Yes.
How?
In general, with the clinical models, we can observe the efficacy of nutraceutical that we select. In this case, anthocyanins.
Well, after the extraction, we will obtain a grape concentrate of the Vitis vinifera, that is the grape, which is going to be packaged in a dropper and sold as a flavonoid concentrate with the name of vitinoid. As you can see in the slide, there is our packaging and our label of the product. This product is mainly aimed at adults since they are the most prone to the disease mentioned, but however, they can be taken by people 30 and older. This product will be sold in Mexico, so therefore the product must follow the rules and laws established by that country. In Mexico, there is no official standard that applies only for nutraceuticals, and that's why we have to follow the following norms that are 3. The first one applies for hygiene practice for the process of food, beverage, and food supplies. The second one is for good manufacturing practice of herbal remedies. And the last one, stability of drugs and medication as well as herbal remedies. For conclusion, hypertension is one of the biggest health problems in Mexico and represents a high cost value for the government due to the medical treatment is expensive. But the principal problem of the disease is the food composition. For that reason, nutraceuticals are a possible effective solution in this complication.